Okay, this is a much more manageable, much better size. This is a 9x12, also a Canson mixed media, and this is my art journal 0.5 because I had this journal on the go at the same time as when I had the first, second, third, fourth journals. I was also working in this one. This one is the one that I had when I was going to visit my family, or yeah, this one was in my backpack, and this one was also one that I would experiment in, and this is also the one that I would put leftovers from stencils or paint or whatever. I would put some of that in here too. And so this, yeah, so I called this 0.5 because it's not really its own number, because I had it at the same time as other journals, my other main journals that I was working in. So anyway, so in a way it's journal number 5, but at the same time it's 0.5 because it was 1.5 and it was 2.5 and it was 3.5 and it was 4.5. So anyway, this journal started out that it was going to be for this kind of thing, that it was going to be for markers. I was going to do this kind of thing in this whole book, but then I quickly found that this just isn't my thing. I love it. I think it's beautiful, and other people have great talent for it. But yeah, I just don't enjoy it enough to do it a lot. Like I do it once in a while, and I like it for once in a while, but it's just not my thing. So anyway, I ended up doing other things with this journal. So anyway, this was, I think, a stencil I have, and I was just experimenting with making flowers and then shading it and stuff, and coloring it in different ways. So this was June 5th of 2011, while at work with Franklin. And this is some more of that stencil. I was trying to do something kind of like a spirograph idea, but it's anyway, it's a stencil that I have. Then I saw a butterfly and a dragonfly and another butterfly with some of the shapes on that stencil. It's just shapes. It's a weird stencil. It's just, anyway, and so I did that. And when I started, I was doing only on one side because of the bleed through from the markers. And I considered coming back and filling in the parts that I didn't do, but in the end I decided not to, because then that wouldn't really be the way it was. Like this is where I was at. This is what I was doing at the time, and so I want to keep that, because that's the journal. That's the way it is. Hard to explain. Anyway, so yes, this is one of the ones that I did. This, I intended to do this throughout the book, but the journal, but then changed my mind. But I kind of like it. But I like this one even more. I intended to do some Zen doodle type things within this shape. This also from a stencil, but I obviously never did it, and I decided not to come back to it. I might someday, but probably not. Anyway, and I obviously never finished this one either, but this was going to be like a water themed, ocean themed one, and each oval was going to have its own little thing. So like this one was supposed to have fish like that, but obviously I never finished it, and I probably never will. You never know, I might someday. I intended to doodle within this hand as well, but again, I never came back to it and probably never will. And this, I did this when I was visiting my family in 2011? Yes, in 2011. I had visited my family, and I was at my mom's, and she gave me a t-shirt that had this pattern on it, and so I was inspired by it, and so I did this, used it as a background and also as her t-shirt. And these faces are inspired by Tamara Laporte's style, but made my own too, I think. So yeah, and I was at my mom's still. So yeah, there's a mermaid and a fish that will show up a lot. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. This is the first one. I was visiting my mom. I didn't have any pencils or anything like that with me. I just had a pencil in this journal. I asked Ma'am if she had any colored pencils or markers or something, and so she handed me this. She found this pencil case, this old pencil case she had, and these were the only colors that were in there. So I had a red marker, and I had a blue and a yellow pencil, and that was it. And so I challenged myself to create something with that, and so this was the result. Oh, and I also used a black pen. But yeah. And so yeah, this came. But those fish, why are those fish there? Because there's supposed to be. Oh, it must have been the other journal. The fish must be in the other journal. Yes, it is. Okay, it's in the other journal. So you've already seen it. Anyway. Yes, I loved this fish. And so he shows up a lot. Anyway, mermaid. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Canada Day and the Canadian Festival, or yeah, just the Canadian flag and the Acadian flag, and just I don't really know why I did that, I just felt like it. And it was near Halloween. It was October 9th. Oh, and I guess it was Thanksgiving too. And I was at my mom's again. And so yeah, I did this. A witch for a fun, happy, and safe Halloween. And this I did while I was showing my sister. I was visiting my sister now, and I was showing her the basics of drawing a face, and so this is yeah. This was on a t-shirt that someone was wearing in a magazine, and I did this from that inspiration. And oh, there's the fish. This fish, I don't understand why this fish is here and that was back there. But anyway, this fish was inspired by a t-shirt that my brother-in-law has. And yeah, I just really loved the fish that I saw on there, and so I made my own version of it. And I intend to make myself a stamp with this fish, but probably make it a bit smaller. This, my sister had a small spirograph set, and so I was just trying to do that. I've never been good at spirographs. This kind of thing always happens, but I was doing pretty good with her set. Yeah. And some more spirographs with some sparkly glitter pens that she had. Still at my sister's. Also still at my sister's. Dream is the theme here. So imagine, dream. Learning to be goddess of my inner world. And so yeah. Just and there's that fish again. It's a ghost image, a ghost mirror image. That fish again, and then just some doodles basically. I believe I was at Mam's, my mom's, when I was doing this one. Some more doodles and that fish again. Doodles in a shape. I love lizards for some reason. You can maybe see a little bit closer. Oh, I had gone for a walk and I had seen some really pretty ferns and other foliage, and they had started changing colors and for the autumn season, and I tried to do something pretty with it. So-so. And one of those other doodle things with, it doesn't work too well with colored pencil because, well, it just doesn't. And so yeah. All of them are peace symbols. So these owls are for peace. See, my other journal needs to dry overnight, so I'm using this one. This is inspired by a friend of mine made an owl for me, and I love the owl, and so yeah, I was inspired by it, and so I did this. But yes, this is an example of how I used this journal and why it's the 0.5, because while the other journal had to dry or something, then I would use this one. I never colored this in, but this owl shape made me think of the owl, but it also looked like a penguin and a cat with its back to us. I drew those, but I never colored it in, obviously. I probably never will. I was playing around with some Halloween spreads, and I was at home, but this is when we were living in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. We've moved from there since. And then this took a very long time, but in my opinion it was worth it. I really like this. Just a bunch of candy corn that I drew. I drew each and every one of them and colored them, but I made myself a little template to make it a little bit easier. And here I was experimenting with how I wanted to color each of them. Just making some notes on this side. And then this, as you can see here, maybe you can see, inspired this. So the idea is that they are made of candy corn, or at least her dress and hat and crown are, and the dog and cat are made of candy corn. So, little sweeties. So I kind of like this too. I had taken a free Mandala class by Guadalupe, but I found out that it's just not my thing. Like, I don't enjoy something that has to be so precise and so perfect. Like, I enjoy looking at it. I like this result. I think it's pretty and I love it. I love that other people do it, to look at their work. But for me to actually do it, I don't enjoy the process, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I like the results, but I don't enjoy the process, so I'm not likely going to be doing this. But that and this one in particular, I started to see these butterflies, and so I did that, and that was getting closer. Like, that was more my thing. And then I did, well, where are they? Okay, I guess that's in a later page. Anyway, later you'll see that I did these in color, the butterflies in color on sticker labels. Then I was experimenting with how to draw snowflakes. Some of these I actually like this one. I like that one, and this one. Those two are my favorites. I also like that one a lot, and that one. So anyway, yes, I was experimenting with different ways of making unique snowflakes. Now, I had done this a long time ago, and I want to make a rubber stamp of flowers like that, the Queen Anne's lace. I don't know how to do it. It's too intricate. Like, I don't know how to carve that, because it's too small. Then I had left this side blank because I intended to do this, but I hadn't gotten back to it until September 3rd of this year. And this I had done on December 9th of 2011. So yeah, it took a long time for me to actually come back and do this. But I like this. I like these 2 pages. Okay, now this was an experiment in making your own crackle paints with glue, white glue, PVA glue, whatever. It had only sort of worked, and then I came back and painted over it again, tried again, and it worked better. But so yeah, anyway, this is just experimenting and pretty much a failure, but journaling about it. And I think it was Jennings here on YouTube that showed the technique. And this was inspired by floor tiles, the wood floor, and I saw a tiger face in here, but I put the eyes at the wrong place. And anyway, this is messed up, and I intend to try this again, but the chances that I'll come back to this are slim, because I would have by now. I did this on January 15th of 2012, and here we are, towards the end of 2013. I'm probably never going to do it. But you never know, maybe someday I'll try again. This is inspired by Tracy Bautista. And a lot of people ask me about the butterfly and if it's got some meaning, but it doesn't. What happened is they printed these out and cut them out, fussy cut them, and this butterfly fell right there on my drawing while I was cutting, and I thought, hey, that looks pretty neat, and so that's why the butterfly is there. I kind of wish that it had a deep meaning, like you know, silenced or something like that, but it doesn't. It's just, so, but anyway, yes, this I actually quite like her a lot, and I intend to make a stamp out of her too for myself. But all these intentions, I don't know if I'll ever get to them, but maybe someday, you never know. But this also would probably be hard to carve, which is probably one of the reasons why I haven't done it yet. It'd be hard to carve this because it's so intricate and stuff. But anyway, maybe someday I'll figure it out. The main inspiration is by Tracy Bautista, Doodles Unleashed, her book. I'm feeling like I've already shown this, but maybe I didn't. Anyway, this was Art Geek's prompt is what it was. We're supposed to take a picture, cut it in half, and then draw the other half. And so I did that. Peacock, and I really liked the feathers, and so I did a couple versions of the feathers. So this one is fussy cut out of paper, and that one's just drawn. And so yeah, Art Geeks. And yeah, this is again that same prompt, and yeah, this came out too green. I don't really like it, but I enjoyed the prompt though. It was a really good idea. I don't remember why there's an egg there, but anyway, I did that too. Must have been around Easter or something. Anyway, I was experimenting with some punchinella, and I made this heart, and then I was trying to figure out how to make it look nice, and then Franklin gave me some ideas on his whiteboard. I was at work with him, so then it could be better. I love his dry erase doodle. That looks good. Mine, so. Anyway, I was at work with Franklin. She just kind of showed up. Just a strange pose. I don't really know what this is all about, but she just did. This was on May 21st of 2012. Again, I was at work with Franklin, and I had gotten some water, and I loved the design on the cup, and so I designed this girl, and just did some journaling about that, and this is some of the scrap paper that I had been using and stuff. But yeah, isn't that neat? A nice pattern. And so, yeah, inspired her. And those are Michael's flowers and Brad's. The Brad's actually, I think, came from the scrapping bug. So these were leftover paints and stencil stuff, and I just did this and then inspired What's been in the other journal? This inspired like 3 or 4 pages in the other journal, and there's a face there too. You probably can't really see it. It's getting dark and the light's not really doing too good a job. But anyway, Go Wild, Set Yourself Free. This, I believe, is inspired by Effie Wild. Something she was doing probably, but I'm not positively sure that's where the inspiration came from. Anyway, yeah, just paper piecing and stuff. Just to have something on this page of leftovers. See, I find that most people say that they have that the blank page intimidates them. For me, it's the other way around. For me, it's the page that has a background on it that intimidates me, because then I don't want to, either I don't want to cover up the background because I like it too much, or I don't really know what to do with the background because sometimes it's like pretty on itself, or it's too busy, and or something. I don't know. Like I don't know. I find it hard to know what to do with something that already has a background, because I often come in with an idea in my head that I want to put on paper, and if there's already something there, it often interferes with that. But anyway, yeah, I actually kind of like starting with a blank page. But anyway, so this is Fairy Dreams, Layers of Interest. This was leftovers and stuff as well, and then she showed up, and then this fairy showed up. Those fairies showed up, and so yeah, intuitive, leftovers, and such. And okay, so this was inspired by something that Effie was doing on her stream, and so I was able to print out these skulls. There was a free printout available at the time, and so I did this one on top of the wax paper, the protective sheet. This is the one that I was using as a template, and then this one is in loving memory of my brother Brian, who died of lung cancer 2009, and this one is in loving memory of my father, who died in 1985 of a heart attack. This whole thing, on the one hand, I think the sugared skulls can be like really pretty and beautiful, but at the same time I find this whole thing disturbing, and like I wasn't sure what I wanted to do about all this, but I wanted to do something because I was still working through the grief for my brother, and I mean it never goes away, but I mean it gets better in time. But anyway, so then I did these that are sort of plain, and then I did these that are more like the sugared skull with the flowers from Michael's and the feathers, not feathers, the leaves, and a stamp, a couple of stamps from Michael's, the dollar bin stores, and the journaling. I've got some journaling here. So yeah, so that was my Day of the Dead stuff. Oh yes, there's more. Right. So yeah, so again, it's kind of pretty, but at the same time it's kind of disturbing, and but I guess I wasn't done because I did another one that was a lot more sugar skull-ish, and so yeah, Halloween journaling. And then I was at work with Franklin, and I saw something like this, actually pretty close to identical, except that of course in the book it was a lot prettier. But anyway, I saw this in a magazine, and I just decided to do her. I love mermaids, and so anyway, and then I had cut the nose here, and so I put some book text through, and so I needed to do something about that here on this side, so I did this girl with a crown. So the tree out the window here had some leaves with these weird spots on them, and the spots were surrounded by the spots were black, but the surrounding area of the spots were kind of purplish blue, and so yes, I was trying to do this to show this leaf, but I didn't really succeed too well. But anyway, I tried again here and failed there too, but yeah, it was neat. Although I think it's kind of sad because that probably means that the tree has a disease or something. So, but anyway, this is inspired by Karen Ellis, something she did, and I love that. But I did it, did my own version of it. I believe that I was at her studio store when I did this. Do more of what makes you happy. And this is her style of thing. I was trying a technique that she does a lot, and it only sort of worked. I like this peace flower here. Yeah, I wanna experiment and do more of this kind of thing, but I hope to do something prettier when I try again. But yeah, I was still at Karen Ellis's Art House Studio store. This is a stamp set that I have that I really love. Yeah, just some of my stamps. And yeah, I did this fairy while I was there. This is just plain Crayola crayons and some marker, and yeah, and the tree is colored pencils. So yeah, mixed media. Here. Oh, yes. Okay, so here I was at a cafe with Franklin and some other NaNoWriMo people. They were writing their novels. I was working on this. And this whole thing was inspired by a beautiful wall hanging, a metal art piece that was on the wall at our table. I just loved it, and so I did this because of that. And while I was working on this, the girl that we were sitting with, she looked like she was interested, and so she asked a couple questions, and then I was showing her a little bit of the basics of drawing a face. And so that's what that's all about. You probably can't really see too much of that because it's pencil, but anyway. And here I had some leftover paint, and in the paint I saw all these giraffes. They just kept showing up, and I probably left out some of the ones that were in there too. So there's all these giraffes, and then I found this bookmark that I had made a while back, a few years ago, and I was pleasantly surprised that it actually, when I cut out the giraffe from the bookmark, fussy cut, it actually fit through my little Xyron sticker maker. And so yes, I made a sticker out of that giraffe. And then I wondered if like, so there's a flock of birds, there's a pride of lions, there's, you know, so I wondered what that term was for a bunch of giraffes. And like, I thought it was probably a herd, but I wasn't sure. And so I asked Franklin about it, and he said he found it on the internet. And so the main one is herd. You can call them a herd, but there's also a core, and there's also a tower of giraffes. So this is kind of neat. As well as all these giraffes, on this side, I also saw this guy and that girl, that face. And so, yeah, that's what this is all about. It's mostly just intuitive leftovers. And again, intuitive leftovers, they were just paints, and this white wolf, and that mermaid, and another mermaid, another mermaid there next to the wolf's head, and then this little bird at night. And then some more leftovers, and some bits of napkins, and some more mesh from food, and yeah, napkins, and a cutout from a sales flyer. I just love that mermaid. I cut her out every time I see her in the flyer. I just love her. And then a stamp that I made. So this had this seahorse that I saw, abstract seahorse that I saw in here in the paint, and then that inspired me to make this stamp for myself, and so I did. And that's what that's all about. So really, this journal isn't really in chronological order either, because I had to go back and fill in some pages and stuff again. And I can't remember who inspired this, and it's weird that there's no journaling. Somebody was showing me how to do this, and I'm pretty sure it was here on YouTube. And it was meant to be a background, and you were supposed to like put something else on top, but I loved it too much. It was just too pretty. So I didn't want to cover it up. And so I just put these punched stickers. I have these white label stickers, and so I punched these butterflies out and put them in, and I love it. I just want to leave it just like that, so I did. But it's really weird that there's no journaling about this page. Like, no, not even a date, which is very, very rare for me. Oh, there is. There is journaling, but it's here on the wax paper and it disappears. Okay, neat. So this is a good idea for hidden journaling, because it works. Ah, golf sprite. So Christy Sobolewski. Okay. Okay, yeah, and then this last page is inspired by this pencil sketch that Franklin had made because I asked him what I should do on this page, and I believe I was at work with him when we did this. But anyway, I love this sketch that he made. Adorable squirrel and some leaves and stuff. So for the longest time, I just had this right here in this envelope frame that I made. And this contains other such things like journaling and things from like things that didn't work out when I was working on other pages and stuff like that. So yeah, I just put that in here. And I kind of like having this envelope in there. Now why isn't it going in there? Okay, I kind of like having this envelope in there, so I think I should start doing that in most of my journals, if not all of them. Anyway, so I did my own version of it in color, but I still like his a lot better. Okay, and then the back cover, I have a hole punch, and so I punched a bunch of holes in a piece of cardboard and then used that as a stencil, and then I used that stenciling brush, and I just used that brush to make those parts to kind of clean off the brush a little bit and not waste the paint. And then I went in again with, over top of all that, oh yeah, this is acrylic paint. Anyway, and then my stamp, my polka dot stamp that I love so much, and then I just stamped it over and over and over again on top of itself, and just over and over. And then when I was cleaning it off on my paper that I have under on my desk, I was cleaning it off a little bit, and I twisted it, and I loved the effect, and so I did a few of those on purpose here, and so I like that. And then I covered the whole thing with clear tape, and the fish showed up again. I made little stickers out of a photo of them. Yeah, that's the cover. So yeah, this journal, so yes, I finished this on Saturday, November 9th of 2013, and this journal was from Sunday, June 5th, 2011 to Sunday, November 9th, 2013. So this one was, yeah, this one was with me for a few years, a couple years, something. Anyway, so there you go. There's that journal, and I think that's all the journals I have for now.